Again, good morning everyone. So, we will continue our discussion sa ating module number 9 with the title Concept, Origin, and Characteristic of Life. So, before we go on with the second topic, which is the different types of cell and its part, let us first review our past lesson. Okay? So, again, our main objective in studying about the concept, origin, and characteristic of life is to define the various branches of biology, identify the different characteristics shared by all living things, describe and explain the different theories and how life began, and to illustrate how organisms are classified. Okay? So, on its overview, sinasabi dito that that science is divided into its three main branches. Okay? These are the physical science, the earth science, and life science. Okay? So the physical science is composed of three. These are the physics, the chemistry, and the astronomy. While the earth science naman is the study of life or everything that's in on earth. Okay? It covers the paleontology, the geology, meteorology, and oceanography. Okay? While life science naman is the study of life and living things. Okay? Which covers the botany, the zoology, microbiology, entomology, okay? The cytology or cell biology, the histology or microanatomy, uh, okay, so anatomy, physiology, genetics, epidemiology, okay, pathology, bacteriology, virology, ecology, and taxonomy. So, yun yung cover ng life science, ano? So, we also discuss about different characteristic of the living things, which are number one, a living things is having an orderly structure of organization. Number two, it has a composition of basic unit of life, which is called cell. Number three is it requires energy or metabolism. Then number four is it responds to stimuli or movement. Okay? Or we called it in other term tropism. Then number five, it is capable of growth and development. Six, it is capable of reproduction. Seven, it is coded by genes. And number eight, it evolves and adapts to its environment. So now we're going to discuss about the two types of cell that can be found in the cell of the living organism. Okay? These are the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. Okay? So according to this, evidence suggests that life first evolved around 3.5 billion years ago. Okay? So this evidence takes the form of microfossils or what we call the fossils that are too small to be seen without the aid of a microscope. Okay? So, ancient rock structures in South Africa and Australia are called stromatolites. Okay? Pag sinabi natin stromatolites, these are the rock structures na sobrang liliit. Okay? So, fossilized photosynthesizing microbes, cyanobacteria, have physical structures that can be likened to the present-day bacteria. And all living organisms can be sorted into two groups depending on their fundamental structure. So, ito na nga yung binabanggit ni Ma'am kanina, the two types of cell. Okay? So, usually, kinakategorize sila sa dalawang klase ng group. Okay? An organism can be called as prokaryotes if it has a prokaryotic cell. Then, an organism can be called as eukaryotes if it has eukaryotic cell. So, alamin natin, ano ba yung prokaryotes, okay? Prokaryotes are the organism that is made up of cell that lack a cell nucleus or any membrane encased organelles. So, usually, Sa prokaryotes, sa kanila matatagpuan yung prokaryotic cell. Baka nalilito po kayo. Let's make it simple. The prokaryotes are the bacteria. Okay? Sila yung mga bacteria, the viruses, okay? The fungus. Okay? Sila yung mga prokaryotes na tinatawag. It is because, sabi nga, no, they are the organism that is made up of cell that is lack of cell nucleus, okay? And membrane that is encased by organelles. Okay? And then, the eukaryotes naman are the organism that has eukaryotic cell, okay? They are the organisms that is made up of cells that compose or possess a membrane-bound nucleus that holds genetic material as well as membrane-bound organelles. Pag sinabi nating genetic material, ito yung DNA natin tsaka RNA natin na matatagpuan doon kay eukaryotic cell. And the eukaryotic cell is a type of cell that can be found in the body of animals and plants, and humans. Okay? Doon siya matatagpuan. So, napakalaki ng pagkakaiba ng prokaryotic cell at eukaryotic cell. Okay? So itong illustration na to, this is a structural comparison between both of them. As you can see, the prokaryotic cell is merong nucleoid. There it is. It has a pili na tinatawag. Yung pili, yung parang mga buntot-buntot niya, mga balahibo, ika nga. No? Then, the prokaryotic cell is, meron siyang cytoplasm. Later on, malalaman natin ano yung meaning ng mga parts na yan ng cell. No? It also has its cell wall, okay, which protect the cell from its environment. Then, the plasma membrane also. Okay? Yan. Then, ang pinagkaiba ni prokaryotic cell kay eukaryotic cell, number 1, it has a flagella. Okay? So, this flagella is parang buntot. No? Na-imagine mo na ba yung bacteria na may buntot? Nakakita ka na ba ng nakakita na ba kayo nung yung uod na may buntot? Yung makikita sa mga matutubig na lugar, 'di ba? Merong mga ganong klase ng So, kumbaga parang kinumpare ko lang, ginawa ko lang yung halimbawa. But actually, the bacteria is hindi natin siya nakikita through our bare eyes. Okay? So, mas makikita natin siya by the use of microscope. So, usually yung prokaryotic cell is nasa bacteria, nasa mga virus, nasa fungus. Okay? So, the eukaryotic cell naman is a type of cell that is very complex because it has its different parts at mas marami to kaysa kay prokaryotic cell. Bakit? Because it has its different functions to be able to let the organisms to live well. 'Di ba? At makatulong sa development ng katawan nito. 'Di ba? So, the eukaryotic cell is composed of the different parts. Okay? So, these are the cytoskeleton. Okay? So, those are the nerve part, Then, we have the plasma membrane, the endoplasmic reticulum. It has its vesicle there. So, it also have its Golgi apparatus. Okay? The nucleolus. Okay? And then, the nucleus. There. Ayun siya. So, yun yung iba't ibang part, ng eukaryotic cell, rather. So, sabi dito, a typical prokaryotic cell might contain the following parts. Yung typical na prokaryotic cell is nagko-compose daw ng mga sumusunod na parts, These are the cell wall, which is the membrane that is surrounding the protecting or to protect the cell. Okay? So, alam niyo yung itlog, 'di ba? So, yung itlog, kung i-compare mo, is, meron siya, di bang, shell na tinatawag. Okay? So, yung shell na yon, kumbaga sa itlog, siya yung hard part. Okay? Which protect the cell from its environment para hindi siya ma-damage para hindi siya mapasukan ng mga foreign bodies. Okay? Then, the cytoplasm is a liquid part. Okay? Which is all of the material inside the cell except the nucleus is in. 'Di ba? So, yung cytoplasm para siyang yung egg white. 'Di ba? Egg white, din, transparent yun, ma'am eh. Hindi, kung kino-compare lang natin, So, si cytoplasm, kung ikukumpara mo siya sa isang itlog, yung pinakang transparent part niya or yung egg white niya, yun si cytoplasm. Wherein yung iba't ibang materials na mayroon kay cell is naandun, palutang-lutang. Si protein, anong tawag dito? Iba't ibang nutrients, naandun siya. 'Di ba? Then, the flagella and the pili. Okay? So, sabi ko nga kanina, si pili yung para mga bala-balahibo, Okay? Tapos, si flagella naman is yung parang buntot. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kaya siya merong ganun. It is because, it is the one that is containing a protein, okay? A protein, or it is a protein-based filament found in the outside of the prokaryotic cell. And usually, this flagella and pili is tumutulong kay prokaryotic cell para mabilis na makagalaw. Mabilis siyang makagalaw. Okay? So, yun yung niya. Yun yung kanyang function. Okay? So, a prokaryotic cell also is meron siyang tinatawag na nucleoid. As you can see on the picture, that nucleoid is a nucleus-like region of the cell where genetic material is kept. Ayan. Alam niyo ba na ang prokaryotic cell only has its RNA and not DNA? Okay? So, yung plasmid naman is a small molecule of DNA that can produce independently. Okay? So, kumbaga, yung DNA composition kay prokaryotic cell is hindi ganun kumbaga, it's not with the complexity, okay, na meron kay prokaryotic cell. At hindi rin, kaya mabilis yung kanilang production, tapos wala pang yung exceptional ng nila. Exceptional ng shape, exceptional kung gaano kadami, 'di ba? Hindi siya nakokontrol. Bakit? Kasi there are some parts that is missing in a prokaryotic cell na hindi nila kaya, yung kung paano mag-produce ang eukaryotic cell. So ngayon, doon naman tayo kay eukaryotic cell. Okay? So, the eukaryotic cell is surrounded by what we call the plasma membrane and contain many different structures and organelles. Okay? So, balik tayo kay itlog. Okay? Imagine niyo may hawak kayong itlog kasi hindi niyo ako makikita ano yung aking camera, no? Imagine niyo meron kayong itlog na hawak. 'Di ba yung itlog, pag tinanggal mo yung shell, 'di ba? Sabi ko yung shell is compare with the cell wall. Meron pang puti, 'di ba, na nakabalot sa kanya. Yung pag pinakuluan mo yung itlog, meron pang puti na nakabalot sa kanya. Yung puti na yun yung tinatawag na plasma membrane. Because aside from the cell wall, the plasma membrane also protects the cell from its environment. Okay? Pinoprotektahan din ng plasma membrane. At doon, alam nyo, kay plasma membrane, unang-unang nagsasurpass yung mga nutrients. Kumbaga, doon sinasala, yung pumapasok sa loob ng cell. Okay? Then, the living world has 3 major divisions of domains. Okay? So, wait lang. So, these major divisions of domains are the bacteria, the eubacteria, okay? The archaea, and the eukarya. Ayan. So, bago natin i-discuss yung 3 major domains, in the world, let us first see what are the different variety of functions nung ibang part na meron kay eukaryotic cell. Okay? So, examples na ito yung chromosomes. Okay? Yung chromosomes, it has a structure of nucleic acid, okay, and protein, which carry genetic information in the form of the genes. So, meaning to say, si chromosomes pala, yung nagke-carry out ng nucleic acid at saka ng protein na nagpo-form o nagta-transform into a genetic transformation, okay? Or nagta-transform into a genes ng isang cell, okay? Then, si mitochondria naman is, it described as a powerhouse of the cell, okay? So, si mitochondria is, siya yung nagbibigay ng energy. Okay? It gives off the energy to the cell. Ayan. Yun yung ilang function, nung mga parts of the cell. So, kumbaga, yung ibang part na meron kay prokaryotic cell, meron din kay eukaryotic cell. Ano po yung pinagkaiba nila? Si prokaryotic cell, wala po siyang chromosomes. Okay? Si eukaryotic cell meron. Si prokaryotic cell, wala po siyang mitochondria. Okay? So, eukaryotic cell meron. It is because the prokaryotic cell depend on the energy of the living organism. Parang si virus, 'di ba? Kumbaga, base sa pinag-aralan natin nung nakaraan, hindi naman mabubuhay si virus kung hindi siya makapasok sa loob ng katawan ng living organism. 'Di ba? So nakadepende yung energy nila doon sa living organism or living things na kakapitan nila. While the eukaryotic cell is may kakayanan silang mag-produce ng sarili nilang energy. Okay? So let us now proceed doon sa three major divisions or domains of the world. Again, these are the bacteria or the eubacteria, the archaea or the archaea bacteria, and the eukarya, which is a description as follows. Okay? So, yung archaea is it possess the following characteristic. Okay? So, the archaea are a prokaryotic cell. Yan. So, yung archaea daw, they are a prokaryotic cell. And then, unlike the bacteria and the eukarya, the archaea have membranes that is composed of branch hydrocarbon chain. Okay? Then, another characteristic of archaea, the cell walls of archaea contain of peptidoglycan. Mamaya malalaman natin ano ba yung meaning ng peptidoglycan. Sumunod naman is the archaea are not sensitive to some antibiotics that affect the bacteria but are sensitive to some antibiotics that affect the eukarya. So, si archaea daw is kapag pumasok siya sa katawan, kaya minsan pag may batang nagkakasakit, 'di ba? Is merong klase ng antibiotic na hindi sila basta-basta namamatay. 'Di ba? Kaya yung doktor maingat sila sa pagrereseta ng gamot 'Di ba? Maingat sila sa pagrereseta ng gamot, most especially sa bata. Inaalam muna nila kung anong klase ng bakterya 'yon. 'Di ba? Lalo na yung amoeba. 'Di ba? Ang amoeba hindi basta-basta yan namamatay. 'Di ba? May mga klase ng antibiotic na hindi kayang patayin ang amoeba agad-agad. Kasi galing yan sa tubig na intake ng katawan natin. 'Di ba? So, sumunod naman is archaea contain of the RNA or pag sinabi nating RNA guys, it is ribonucleic acid, okay? That is unique to the archaea and as indicated by the presence molecular regions. Okay? Then the archaea often live in extreme environments such as cryoarchaeota, okay? Yung cryoarchaeota is ito yung it has its heat tolerant of 110 degrees Celsius. Okay? Then, sumunod naman is Eukaryote, which are able to provide or survive in a very salty habitat. Yan. There are some archaea bacteria that can survive in a very salty habitat. There are some bacteria that can live in a very hot area, no? It also has its methanogens, no? It produces pockets of methane that is beneath the ocean floor, and some of them are live in the human gut. Ayan. Excuse me. So yung methanogens is ito yung kayang i-produce ng ilan sa mga archaea bacteria, no? It can produce, or the archaea bacteria can produce a methane, ano, na maaaring matatagpuan sa mga oceans, ano, and some of the methanogens is nabubuhay po sa ating puwet. Sa puwet. Totoo yun. Sa dumi natin. Yan. Ay, nandun lang siya. Kumbaga, sumasama siya sa dumi natin. Kaya alam niyo yung deposito ng bahay natin, ng CR sa bahay natin. Hindi ka po pwedeng magluto doon o magsindi ng ano doon kasi po pwede siyang sumabog. 'Di ba? Kasi nga dahil sa methanes, na napoproduce ng archaea bacteria na meron sa dumi ng tao. Okay? Sumunod naman is the Prokaryote. So the Prokaryote is thought to be the oldest lineage of archaea bacteria. Okay? So ito daw yung pinakang matandang lineage ng archaea bacteria. Sumunod naman is the Lichyoryote, which is it is also defined as a methanogen kind of bacteria. Okay? Na matatagpuan naman sa digestive tract ng mga baka. Ayan. So, kung yung ilang klase ng methanogen ay matatagpuan sa katawan ng tao, okay, sa digestive tract ng tao, same with the Lochiarchaeota, which is ito naman, matatagpuan naman sa digestive tract ng baka. Hindi lang sa kalabaw din Kaya nga 'di ba yung mga dumi ng baka, dumi ng kalabaw, pwedeng gawing katol. Nung bata ako, yung tatay ko nagko-collect ng mga dumi ng kalabaw tsaka dumi ng baka. Yung tuyo yung tuyo. Tapos nilalagay ni tatay ko doon sa ilalim ng bahay namin kasi kubo yung bahay namin dati 'di ba? Tapos sinisindihan niya 'yun. 'Di ba? Sinisindihan niya 'yun. Magdamag na 'yun para mapaalis ang mga lamok. 'Di ba? So, those are the different types of archaea bacteria. Another examples and another type of archaea bacteria is the halobacteriasis. This halobacteriasis is highly saturated in a salty environment. Okay? Then, the Psychopillis. Psychopillis naman is a type of archaea bacteria that thrive extremely in a cold temperature. Okay? So, again, yun po yung iba't ibang klase ng archaea bacteria. So, let us now proceed with the bacteria or the eubacteria. Okay? So, the eubacteria is under the kingdom Monera, no? It possesses the following characteristics. These are the bacteria that are prokaryotic cell. Okay? Like the eukarya, they have membranes that is composed of unbranded or unbranched fatty acid chains attached to glycerol by ester leakage. Ayan. Then, sumunod naman, characteristic of eubacteria is these bacteria are very sensitive, na letter C tayo. The cell wall of the bacteria, unlike the archaea and eukarya, contain the peptidoglycan. Then letter D, the bacteria are sensitive to traditional antibacterial antibiotics but are resistant to antibiotics that affect eukarya. Then, sumunod naman, this bacteria contains RNA, okay, which is very unique to the bacteria. Okay? Then, sumunod naman, bacteria includes mycoplasmas, cyanobacteria, gram-positive bacteria or gram-positive bacteria, and gram-negative bacteria. So, those are the different characteristic ng eubacteria or the bacteria. Okay? So, usually, this type of bacteria is belong siya sa kingdom Monera. Okay? Then, next one is the eubacteria naman. Okay? So, usually, eukarya rather. Usually, it is spelled as eukarya. There. Which possess the following characteristic. Okay? So, eukarya have eukaryotic cell. Yan. Then, kagaya ng ibang bacteria, meron siyang membrane that is composed of unbranched fatty acid, okay? Or unbranched fatty acid chains. And then, hindi lahat ng eukarya is nagpo-possess ng cell na merong cell wall. Merong mga klase ng eukarya na walang cell wall pero may peptidoglican. Meron namang may cell wall, meron ding peptidoglican. Okay? Then, yung letter D, it has a resistance to the traditional antibacterial antibiotic. Okay? And then, eukarya contain RNA that is unique to eukarya as indicated by presence of the molecular regions distinctly different from RNA or of archaea and bacteria. And then for letter F naman, the eukarya are subdivided into the following. So yung eukarya daw is sinasubdivide daw siya sa mga sumusunod na category. These are the Protista kingdom. Yung Protista kingdom, it has its predominantly unicellular eukaryotic organism. Ang example ng Protista kingdom is yung slime, molds, euglenoids, yung mga algae, lumot, 'di ba? And protozoan. So tatandaan niyo sa Protista kingdom, yung first category ng eukarya, ang mga halimbawa nito yung mga slime, yung molds, euglenoids, algae at saka protozoans. Then sumunod naman is the fungi kingdom. This fungi kingdom naman also has its unicellular or multicellular organisms. Okay? So, ang mga halimbawa ng fungi kingdom are the sac, okay? The fungi, the club fungi, yeast, and then molds. Diba? Then, the plantae kingdom is, these are multicellular organism that is composed of eukaryotic cell. And the cell are organized into tissues and have cell walls. Okay? So, halimbawa nito are the mosses, okay, na madalas nating matatagpuan sa mga gilid-gilid ng mga creeks, yung mga ferns, the conifers, and the flowering plants. Okay? So, the plantae kingdom is a type of eukarya, okay, that are anong tawag ito? Photosynthetic. Okay? They have the ability to produce their own food by means of the energy of the sun. Okay? It obtain the nutrients by means of photosynthesis. Okay? Then the Animalia kingdom naman. The Animalia kingdom naman is an animal that is multicellular organism that is composed of eukaryotic cell. Okay? So, merong mga klase ng animals na nagko-compose ng eukaryotic cell only. Okay? The cell are organized into tissues and lack cell wall. Ang halimbawa ng mga animal kingdom na ito, or Animalia kingdom na ito, these are the sponges, the worms, insects, at saka yung mga vertebrates. Diba? Sila yun. Okay? So, primarily, They do not carry out photosynthesis and obtain nutrients by ingestion. Okay? So, yun yung ano nila. Okay? Yung categories ng eukarya. So, kung ano yung pinag-aaralan natin ngayon, it is covered by what we call taxonomy. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating taxonomy, guys, it is a branch of biology that classifies all living things, and it was developed by Swedish botanist at ang pangalan niya ay Carolus Linnaeus. Okay? So, si Carolus Linnaeus lived during the 18th century. And this system of classification is still used up today. Okay? So, Linnaeus invented the binomial nomenclature. Okay? This is a system of giving each type of organism a genus and species name. Okay? He also developed a classification system that is called as taxonomic hierarchy. Ayan. Ito yung sinasabi kong taxonomic hierarchy. So, ngayon, yung taxonomic hierarchy na yon is nagko-compose ng 8 ranks from general specifications according to its domain, to its kingdom, sa kanyang phylum, sa kanyang class, sa order, sa family, sa genus, at saka sa species. Okay? So, alamin natin yung iba't ibang taxonomic hierarchy, okay, na binanggit sa pag-aaral ni Carolus Linnaeus. So, doon muna tayo sa domain. Okay? So, number 1 taxonomic rank is domain, which is the highest and most general rank of organism. Okay? So, according to Linnaeus, he did invent some of taxonomic rank, but he did not invent the domain rank. Okay? Which is relatively new. Okay? So, yung domain rank na yun, ito yung nabanggit natin kanina, no? Yung pinag-aralan natin kanina. These are the bacteria, the archaea, and the eukarya. Okay? Then, sumunod naman guys is a kingdom. So, si kingdom naman, it was the highest taxonomic rank, which in the past, the different kingdoms were Animalia, the Plantae, okay, the Fungi, Protista, Archaea, and Bacteria, which is na-discuss na rin natin kanina. Okay? So, sabi dito, Archaea and Bacteria were sometimes grouped into one kingdom and Monera. And year 2015, researchers suggested splitting Protista into 2 new kingdoms, which are the Protozoa and Chromista. Okay? Bakit daw? Dahil yun daw Protista includes eukaryotic organism. Okay? At hindi mga animals. 'Di ba? Hindi rin to mga plants. Hindi rin to fungi. Pero merong ibang organism na very closely relative, no? Or related rather to one another. Then sumunod naman, number 3 taxonomic rank is a phylum. Sabi dito, there are 35 phyla in kingdom Animalia. Okay? Which includes the chordata. Okay? The chordata includes all the organism with dorsal nerve cord. Okay? While the Porifera naman, sila yung mga sponges. The Arthropoda are the insects that has 80% of the known animal species. Okay? The Colentrata or Colenterata or the Cnidaria, ito naman yung mga klase ng animals that has its corals, the jellies, yung mga hydras na matatagpuan natin sa tubig. Ano? The Platyhelminthes naman, these are the blood flocks. Okay? Then the Annelida are the earthworms. Mollusca are snails, octopus, squid. While the Echinodermata is starfish. Then the Nematoda naman is the human ascaris. Okay, tayo yun. Okay? So, sa class naman, number 4, is nagko-compose ito ng 108 different classes in the kingdom Animalia. So, ilan lang ito, sa mga babanggitin natin sa mga classes ng kingdom Animalia. These are the mammalia or the mammals. Okay? So, sabi, yung mammals daw is may kakayanan siyang mag-conceive or mag-produce ng sarili niyang offspring. Okay? It conceives their young within the reproductive tract of the mother, then after birth, nourish them with milk produced by their mammary gland. Ayan. So, we humans belong to to class Mammalia. Okay? Then, sumunod naman yung mga apes. Yung apes naman, lahat ng klase ng ibon, belong to the apes. Then, the Reptilia, which includes the reptiles such as turtles, snakes, lizards, and alligators. Okay? Then, lahat ng may lungs that can breathe, okay? Pwedeng makahinga sa ilalim ng tubig, then sa land, okay? So, kumbaga hindi nila kaya or pwedeng hindi nila, anong tawag dito? Pwedeng hindi nila panatilihin yung katawan nila na basa. Okay? Kasi they have the ability to live either in land or in water. Okay? Then, sumunod naman is the agnata. Okay? So, yung agnata, sila yung mga klase ng mga jawless fish. Diba? Wala silang kaliskis. Diba? And, ang example nito, yung mga lampreys at saka yung mga hagfish. Yan yung mga halimbawa niyan. Okay? Then, sumunod is the chondrichthyes. Yung chondrichthyes naman is belong dito yung mga cartilaginous fish, kagaya na lamang ng shark at saka yung mga rays. Yan. Then, sumunod is the ostrichthyes, wherein dito naman nabibilang yung mga bony fish. Okay, kagaya na lamang ng tuna, yung bass, yung salmons, 'di ba? Yun yung mga ostrichthyes na tinatawag. Then, sumunod naman is the amphibia. Alam nyo, minsan, nalilito tayo, sa mga amphibians at saka sa mga reptilia. Minsan napagpapalit natin sila. Okay? Sabi dito, yung mga amphibians, sila daw yung mga klase ng animals na some parts of their lives is nabuhay sila under the water. Yung iba naman is nabuhay sa land. Kagaya na lang yung frog. Di ba nung tadpoles pa lang siya, doon siya nabuhay sa tubig. Pag tinanggal mo yung tadpoles doon sa tubig, patay yan. Ilang oras lang. Di ba? Yung salamanders is kaya niyang mabuhay sa lupa, then pwede din siya sa tubig. Di ba? Mga amphibians yung mga yan. Okay? So, pinagkaiba nila, yung reptilia kasi pwedeng hindi nila panatilihing basa yung katawan nila kasi they can live both the water and land. Same with amphibian. Ang amphibian pwedeng mabuhay with land and water. Ang pinagkaiba lang, kailangan yung amphibian dapat panatilihan nilang basa lagi yung or nagmo-moisture yung katawan nila. 'Di ba? Kaya some of their or most of their lives is lumulusong sila sa tubig. Okay? So, next naman is yung order, taxonomic rank. Okay? So, sa order taxonomic rank, usually they are subdivided into 3 subclasses. Okay? So, yung 3 subclasses na yon, yun yung subclass Eutheria, okay? Which has a placental mammals. Ito yung mga mammals na may placenta. Okay? Then, it is composed of 5 orders. They are the order Carnivora. These are the animals that are carnivores that eats ito yung mga animals na kumakain ng karne, 'di ba? Kagaya na lang ng cats, ng bears, 'di ba? Ibilang na natin dito yung tigers, lions, 'di ba? Then yung order Insectivora naman, these are the animals that eats, okay, or insect eaters rather. Okay? So, insectivora are animals that eat insect eaters such as hedgehogs, 'di ba? Or hedgehogs, the moles, the shrews, 'di ba? Ano pa ba? Anteaters, 'di ba? Then sumunod is the order primates, which are the apes, monkeys, lemurs, at saka tayo, tao. 'Di ba? Kabilang tayo sa order primates. Yan. Sumunod naman is the order Rodentia. Yung order Rodentia naman, sila yung mga rodents. 'Di ba? Yung mga madalas na naninirahan sa mga siksik na lugar. Kagaya na lamang ng mga daga. Yan, yung mga mice, squirrels, gerbils, yung hamsters, 'di ba? Yan. Then sumunod naman is the order Perisodactylia. Okay? So, usually sila yung mga odd-toed, okay? Or ungulates. Okay, kagaya na lang ng horses, rhinos, tapirs, 'di ba? So sila yung may mga apat na paa usually. So, tapos malalaki. Okay? Then another subclass of order is the subclass Metatheria. Okay? Sila naman yung mga marsupials. Okay? Na merong iba't ibang or merong 270 species of mammals. Okay? So, most likely sila ay mga klase ng animals that are females at may mga pouches. Kumbaga, kung yung subclass Eutheria, ito yung merong mga placenta o yung mga nanganganak. Diba? Ito namang subclass Metatheria rather, is ito naman yung mga klase ng animals na may pouches. Okay? Kagaya na lamang ng order Microbiotheria. Okay? Yung order Microbiotheria is nag-iisa na lang siya, no? At usually, tinatawag siya na Monito del Monte. Okay? At matatagpuan po ito sa Australia. Okay? Kumbaga, parang nag-iisang klase na lang siya o nag-iisang species na lang siya. Okay? Sumunod naman is the order Dasyuromorphia. Yan, medyo nabubulol si ma'am. Order Dasyuromorphia. Okay? Ito naman yung mga Tasmanian wolf na nag-extinct na rin ngayon. Okay? Usually, they are called as a numbat. Okay? Then for letter C, the order Paramelomorphia. Okay? So the order Paramelomorphia is bandicoots or yung mga bilbies na klase ng animals. While the order Notoric Temorphia, these are the marsupial moles or marsupial moles. Okay? While yun namang order Diprotodontia is meron siyang 10 pamilya at 117 species kagaya na lamang ng kangaroos. These are actually very familiar sa atin eh. The wallabies, the wombats, the koalas, they have their pouches. Pag nanganganak sila, diretso doon sa pouch nila. Dudukutin na lang. O nilalabas na lang nila doon sa pouch nila. Okay? Next is a subclass Prototheria. So the subclass Prototheria is, it has a 12 total families in the order, which are the Carnivora. Okay? Nabibilang siya sa Carnivora. Some families in the order Carnivora, for example, are the Conidae, kagaya na lamang ng Canidae rather, yung mga dogs, wolves, foxes, belong yan sa Carnivora. Okay? Yung Felidae naman is, example nito yung mga cats. Then, the Mephistidae is yung mga skunks. At yung Ursidae is mga bears. Okay? Yun yung by family. Kumbaga, they are being classified by family. So, sumunod naman po is a genus. Yan. So, sa genus naman, it is even more specific than family, ano? It is the first part of the organism that has a scientific name. Yan. Ito naman yung mga klase ng animals na may scientific name. Okay? So kagaya na lamang ng mga anong tawag yun, Homo sapiens, 'di ba? Then Homo is a genus name for sapiens, which is Homo is a genus name while yung sapiens naman is a species name. Yan. So meron silang kumbaga meron silang specific na scientific name. Okay? Then sumunod naman yung species. Yan. Yung species, guys, is most specifically major taxonomic rank, which are sometimes divided into subspecies. Okay? Pero kumbaga, they are not multiple forms that are different enough in order to call the subspecies. Okay? So makikita sila sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo, but the vast majority have yet to be discovered and categorized. Ayan. So, hanggang dito na po muna.